Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Thursday, May 18th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Indiana game is 108 days. The game against Michigan in 192 days. That's the countdown to the 2023 football season. But I think most of the college football world is already kind of casting an eye ahead to 2024. That's going to be the year when a lot of stuff changes in the college football world. College football playoff expands to 12 teams. Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. USC and UCLA to the Big Ten. TV deals change again. No more SEC on CBS. That the new Big Ten TV deal with SEC with the CBS kicks in full go. I'm sure I'm missing something else, but man, oh man, among all those other changes, EA Sports NCAA football is coming back in 2024, which I guess means the way they name it, it'll be EA Sports College Football 2025. It doesn't matter, whatever they call it, you will get to play it this time next year. And on Wednesday this week, there was a very big piece of news, a very big piece of the puzzle to getting that game actually to market fell into place. I don't know that anyone on earth has played more in NCAA football than Tony Gerdeman, so he joins me today to talk about the game, to talk about what this is all going to mean and why this is actually such a big deal. Tony, the announcement, I think we're kind of accustomed to NIL announcements. Everyone just sort of kind of blows past them at this point. But this was a big one. One Team Partners made an agreement to, quote, facilitate collegiate athletes' names and likenesses into the game. This is the same company that's worked with EA on Madden and FIFA, other very big video game titles with that same company. Why is this such a big deal?
Well, it's a huge deal because now you can use, it's an avenue to be able to have EA put the players' names and likenesses in the games. Not unlike the NFLPA, the MLBPA, the players' associations of those respective sports. As you're loading your game screen, it has all these different logos and this, fine print that you're not reading. One of those logos when you're loading Madden is generally like the NFLPA and things like that. That players are a part of that, and they sell their names and likenesses out, and then they'll get money in from that, from wherever those are used, and so. Now you've got One Team Partners essentially doing that, being, I don't know if a clearinghouse would be the right term, but a hub for players to opt in to being part of the game and then would get money back once they do that. And I don't know that they've come to terms with the terms or if they're even known yet, but it's a huge deal. Like you said, it's a big hurdle. We knew once NIL came into play that this would have to, that's all like individual based. And so there was going to need to be this hub that contracted with EA or any game maker. And then also it was an avenue for players to get involved because you can't do it necessarily individually. It needed to be better coordinated than that. And that's what this has done. So, that is a huge hurdle as they've been going on and doing other stuff, preparing for the game. But this is a big step, and it's a good step for the players and for the game players, most importantly.
It's certainly importantly. I don't know about most importantly, but so you are somewhere in that list of the ranking of most important people in this whole thing. Yes. And if you're wondering why they can't just do individual deal with players, why do they have to have a centralized clearinghouse? Well, just FBS. They are not right now. According to Matt Brown of the Extra Points newsletter, he said he got it confirmed that the current plan is still to not include FCS teams at launch, so you are not going to have Youngstown State or with a roster or any of that stuff, but it will be all the FBS teams. And there's just north of 130 FBS teams, and there's 85 scholarship players on most of them, unless they're Colorado. But 85 times 130 is 11,000 players. So you're not going to go, individually knock on every player's apartment door and say, "Hello, sir, please sign this," and then you can be in the NCAA game. You have to have a centralized clearinghouse to be able to do all that stuff. That's what this does. And as far as why the likenesses are so important, I think people maybe don't remember why this game went away when it did. And the case was O'Bannon versus NCAA. It was a case that got appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court at one point. But it was Ed O'Bannon, the former UCLA basketball star in the early to mid-'90s. He was on the, 1994, 1995 national champion UCLA team. He noticed when he was in college, hey, when I play with UCLA, there's a guy with my height and my weight and my skin tone and my haircut and my uniform number who also shoots left-handed. I wonder if that's a coincidence. And the case stemmed from, hey, why is the NCAA and why is UCLA able to license my image and likeness and I can't? That's one of the things that led to the current NIL legislation. That was sort of one of the many steps on the path that led to that. But once they couldn't just use, plausible deniability, like, hey, there's this Ohio State quarterback and he wears number 2 and he's more than 6 feet tall and he's from Pennsylvania. Is it Terrell Pryor? No, it's just QB2 for who's also from Pennsylvania. Once they lost that ability to have that plausible deniability, then that made the licensing of the game not possible. And so now this news that we got this week, this is kind of the answer to that question. This addresses the big elephant in the room issue that made it impossible for them to have this game. A bunch of stuff is still to be finalized. It's not clear how much are players going to receive. It's not clear what the structure of the payments is going to be. I mean, back 5-10 years ago, Tony, I remember talking to lots of players who said, boy, if you just gave me a copy of the video game, I'd be happy to license my image and my likeness just to get a copy of the game. And boy, it would be fun to be in a video game. I do wonder, is everyone going to be happy with that? Is anyone going to be happy with that now that more than that seems like an option?
I don't think everybody will be happy with that, because we've seen players who are leaving schools because they're not happy with the NIL. But this is a much smaller thing, a much smaller opportunity. So it is kind of free money. So why would you turn it down? And there's no holding out per se. Like, we're not going to give you a better deal. This is the deal. If you want to be part of it, it's like a class action lawsuit, essentially. Like, if you want to be a part of it, put your name in. If you don't, good luck to you on your own. I do wonder what this means for editing players and editing rosters, because that was always how you actually created the names on these guys. They would give you pretty accurate heights and weights and stupidly home states and things like that. And then you would just type in the names. Now I wonder if they are paying players for their names, those are locked, right? Do you think, like, look, we've paid for this name. You are not changing Kyle McCord to Bodie McBoatface or quarterbacky McQuarterback face, that sort of thing. Like, we paid for this. No editing of the names.
Well, they did say that if players don't want to be in the game, if they don't want, or, probably more likely, I don't think there's anyone in college football in the witness protection program, so it's probably more likely they don't want to sell their name and likeness for the amount that EA wants to pay. EA Sports will create a generic avatar and a player in that athlete's place, which, if you're old enough to remember, like Tecmo Super Bowl, the NFL had the Players Association, but they also had the Quarterback Club, which was sort of a group of, big name quarterbacks, which is a whole separate marketing entity. And they licensed the NFLPA, but they did not license the Quarterback Club. So instead of Jim Kelly, you had QB Bills. Instead of Randall Cunningham, you had QB Eagles. I don't know if, whoever Ohio State's Aaron Nolan decides in 2026 he doesn't want to license his name. Is it just QB Ohio State, or is it just John Smith? They throw another placeholder name in there. That I don't know. I would certainly assume they're going to do what they can to license everyone, because that's going to be something that I think, I don't know. I guess, to me, I sort of assume this is a game that all these players have grown up playing, and they would love to be in this game. But you're talking about players who haven't grown up playing this game. This game has not been on the market for close to 10 years at this point. So, they've grown up playing Madden. But I wonder, I stopped myself there. I was about to say, well, this is a game these guys have grown up playing. I'm sure they would want to be in it, but they haven't. So in addition to us being old, boy, that'll be interesting. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Yeah, because the last game went on sale, July of 2013, because NCAA 14 is the last game. So, but there is so much still talk about it, and the retro aspect of it. Like, you can go online right now and search, there's Twitch people who simulate or play entire, seasons and dynasties and leagues. So it has been kept alive that way. But obviously, pretty much anybody that plays games in the football world plays Madden. And so it seems to me like this would be something they want to be part of. the want for more is always has become more and more apparent. But like I said, it's a flat rate. If you want it, great. If you don't, great. And that's why I think the editability, if 99% of the players are being given money, like, go ahead and just put QB Buckeyes, and then the purchaser will go ahead and change it to Kyle McCord. And it's like, now you've done all you can for the players. And so now, you've always been able to edit rosters. So why change it now? And then that's how you kind of get around that. If that's important to you. And I know it's important to a lot of people to have the names on there. And that's the whole entire reason this whole thing crashed, because of names. And I still don't know why they couldn't just throw random names and heights and weights and just let the users edit it, because they have. I mean, I remember years ago sending away a memory card in the mail to somebody to put rosters on it and get it back. Put a memory card and a $5 bill in an envelope and mail it off and get the memory card back with rosters like a week or two later. I mean, this was an industry for some people. GameStop would charge you, $25, $30, $40 or whatever for a memory card after you bought the game. Like, in 2 weeks, come back and, we'll have the rosters for you. This, they've cut out the middleman, thankfully. And even if there are still a few things that we wish were there, the fact that it's there should be able to make us happy. But Tom, I think people are still going to find something to complain about, especially if it's just a rebranded Madden game.
They swear it's not going to be a rebranded Madden game. That's why this was potentially going to come out this year. They pushed it back a year because they wanted it to not just be a reskinned Madden game. They wanted it to be really a completely new, done from scratch game that takes a while. So, we'll see. I'm sure, as you said, people will find lots of stupid stuff to complain about. People also undoubtedly, I sure hope they fix the middle linebacker who jumps 30 feet in the air to intercept a pass that I absolutely had a wide open receiver. And that is so fake. What is wrong with you? Sorry. Serenity now. Okay. We're not even, maybe it won't even be an issue when the game comes out. I don't know. There's only one way to find out. We'll all get mad together next year. But until then, we can all look forward to the release of EA Sports NCAA 2025 sometime in probably July or August next year, with a whole bunch of players, some details to follow. But this does feel like a very big one that they got worked out. So some very good news for all you college football fans and video game folks out there. So while you're waiting for EA Sports to finally get around to releasing that game next year, why don't you kill some time at BuckeyeHuddle.com instead? No college football game this year, but plenty of great college football talk. Lots of our fantastic team of insiders. Kevin and Mark have been on the road all week on their Southern Swing, talking to lots of prospects from across the South, some very, very big names, current Ohio State commits, possible future Ohio State commits, and a number of guys who you feel like, this guy's going to be a college football star somewhere, and it might be Ohio State, but it might be somewhere else. Talking to a lot of those guys, scouting a lot of those guys in person, finding out where the Buckeyes stand with all of them. That's all going on this week at BuckeyeHuddle.com. They have turned out a ton of content there. Obviously have our usual team coverage from Kevin and Tony and I, Alex and Mark on the recruiting beat, Ross and Devin and Justin and Mikey all covering the X's and O's. A fantastic team of insiders, a fantastic community, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. So if your membership is maybe coming up at another site, why don't you give us a try and see if you like our community, see if you like our team of insiders. It is a great time, a great community, a lot of fun to be there, and you can join us today at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.